My parents divorced when my sister, 20, and I, 19 male, were little kids. She met her husband 3 years after the divorce. He was a widower with a baby son. I think he was 7 months old when they met. She instantly moved them in and started claiming his son as her own and raising him like us. She got engaged to him, and our dad died a few weeks before their wedding. Mom didn't even postpone the celebration. By this point, my mom had become estranged from her extended family. She told my dad's parents that if they wanted to see us again, they would need to come to her wedding and watch all three of us, including my stepbrother. She then told them after the wedding that in the future, if they wanted to see us or spend time with us, then they had to include him. They hadn't wanted to, so they tried to argue for time with just us, offering to pay for it all 100%. But Mom said no. She then said they needed to come to the house and make an effort with all three and not just take two with them. My sister and I would argue with our mom over one day in particular, my dad's birthday. We celebrated that every year with my dad's family after he died, but she wouldn't let that day just be us and them. Our stepbrother had to be there too. She said they didn't get to be just our family, and we shouldn't see him as any less deserving of being present. But we did. He wasn't our dad's kid, and he never met him, so why was he worthy of being there? I never got that. She called us selfish for our mindset. Last year, I turned 18 and I moved in with my girlfriend. Once I left home, my stepbrother was no longer invited to anything to do with my dad's family. He no longer saw them, so my sister and I stopped spending time at my mom's house, and then we stopped speaking to them. It was quiet for several months. And then last week, Mom showed up where I work and demanded that we talk. She told me how she was tired of one of her kids being left out, how sick it was to discard him that way, and why my sister and I weren't advocating for him. I told her she only had one kid, her stepson, and that my sister and I were no longer her kids, and my family was no longer forced to include him to see us, and that it was all her fault for forcing it in the first place. Then I wished her luck, which was kind of sarcastic, not gonna lie, and asked her to leave. She texted me later that night to say she had been a good mom to all three of us, and to say she only had one kid was low. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. Get over yourself and this, my stepbrother's not really my family nonsense. You should be ashamed of yourself. Blended families are not easy. However, it sounds like your mom was doing what she could to make sure that you all were treated equally across the board, no matter what adults were involved in your lives at any given time. Trust me, that's no small feat. Exactly. OP, I'm sorry for your loss. And while it wasn't right for your stepbrother to come to your annual birthday celebration for your father, making sure the stepbrother wasn't left out of other family activities was the right move. Honestly, what I think you all need is family therapy so you can work out these issues in a controlled environment. Am I going bananas? Your mom was messed up for not postponing that wedding and making everyone go celebrate, especially while grieving. Your mom nearly caused you to lose half of your extended family, and she needed a reality check. OP, you're not the idiot, and I don't know why everyone is saying that you are. You tried for years to get your mom to listen to you about being forced to include your stepbrother. She didn't listen, and now you're no contact. If she didn't want to lose two of her children, she shouldn't have treated them like their feelings didn't matter. Should you have said what you said? Probably not. But if you and your sister are both no contact, it's true, and she'll have decades to rationalize it. Agreed. This was not a mom just struggling with a blended family, like everyone else is saying. This was your mom repeatedly trampling your boundaries and including your stepbrother on the only day meant to celebrate your dead dad for years. Some people struggle with blending a family. This was just bad parenting. I also feel bad for the stepbrother. OP's mom pushed him to view that side of OP's family as part of his own, knowing that they didn't really want him there. Not saying that I think they should still include him, but that poor child. There was no reason to force the stepchild into the mix. Trying to erase your father was an idiot move, and now she's upset because she's dealing with the consequences of her crappy parenting. I, 50 female, told my daughter, 24, She needed to pay rent. She got out of college in February and struggled to find a job until October. I supported her during the job hunt, and she's been living back home rent-free. I was excited for her finally finding the job, especially when it was surprisingly well-paying. However, she told us she won't get paid until late this month. I said it was fine, but she still needed to pay rent. The other day, she told me she planned a trip with her friends and was saving for plane tickets. I reminded her again she still needed to pay rent, as it felt like she was trying to avoid rent so she could save money for this trip. She told me she'd pay the rent, but deducted her credit card bill. Apparently, she wanted me to pay her credit card bill first, then keep the rest as rent. I told her it was unacceptable. She rolled her eyes and tried to walk away. In the heat of the moment, I said some unfortunate things. At the end of the fight, she finally agreed to pay the rent and her own credit card bill. My daughter has become extremely distant since. She started working overtime almost all week. I tried to talk to her. I even told her she could keep her original plan, but she just kept fixating on the things I said, either ignoring my message or telling me how I've misunderstood her and made her feel bad. My husband thinks I'm the idiot because he thinks our daughter was already stressed, and I keep reminding her of rent money she didn't have. Demanding rent in a fight made me the villain. Today she handed me a stack of cash, rent and credit card bill included. I tried to tell her the money will be in a family savings account. She rolled her eyes and said she didn't care. She then cut up the credit card I was managing the bills for. My husband gave me an "I told you so" look. I honestly don't think I deserve any of this treatment. I love my daughter very much, but I can't help but wonder if my husband was right. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. My parents had me start paying rent when I was 20. It was a small amount at first, but it really helped me to start learning to take care of my things myself while still having a safety net. Your daughter's a grown woman. Time to put on her big girl panties. You are the idiot because you didn't explain what unfortunate things you said during the fight. It must have been nasty, or you wouldn't be hiding it. It also seems like you feel guilty for what you said because you've been backtracking with her and telling her it's going into a special account. It's not unreasonable to expect your adult daughter to contribute rent now that she has a job, but I think you're old enough to disagree with someone without getting personal. I also think if it was just about the rent, she wouldn't still be upset with you. The only person in this situation with all the information, your husband, clearly thinks you're the idiot. You're not telling us how much rent you're asking for or what bad things you said during this fight. When you were given the money she worked extra hours for, you told her it would go into a savings account you set up. You flat out let everyone know it wasn't money necessary for household expenses. It's entirely reasonable to expect an adult child to contribute to household costs while they still reside with their parents. If that were the only issue at play here and you were forthcoming about it, this would easily put you in the clear. Obviously, you're trying to make yourself look better, so I will have to side with your husband. My wife and I were invited to my brother's 31st birthday. He's single and lives alone in his apartment. So to give you a heads up, my wife and my brother don't get along well, but they can be civil enough to sit at the same table. So we went and had dinner and talked, and everything was going well. No argument. Nothing till after my wife went to use the bathroom. Later, my brother went to use the bathroom and came back looking angry. He kept giving my wife and me looks, but I didn't know what was going on until he pulled me aside before we left and told me that my wife had left her used pad in his bathroom trash can. I was shocked and didn't know what to say because this felt highly inappropriate. He said he didn't appreciate what my wife did and that it was a sign of disrespect towards him. I apologized profoundly and said I didn't know about it. Then he asked me to speak to her or she wouldn't be welcome in his place anymore. We got in the car and I asked my wife about it. She said nothing was wrong with what she did and that my brother was being ridiculous. So I kind of flipped and told her it was very inappropriate for her to leave her stuff in his place, even if it was in the bathroom and in the trash can, because it made him uncomfortable. She yelled, asking what she was supposed to do, and I told her she could have taken it with her or thrown it outside, not in his bathroom. That's my brother's place, and he told me how he felt about it. She yelled at me, calling my brother a moron and me an idiot for getting in her face about it. She said she needed to use the bathroom, and it's not like the pad was visible since she dumped it in the trash can. At home, we still argued about it, and she kept calling me and my brother names. She's currently not speaking to me and is avoiding me entirely. Regardless, it's his place, and he gets to express what makes him uncomfortable in it. I want to emphasize the fact that as guests, we should respect people's homes and not argue about what makes them uncomfortable. He said it made him uncomfortable, and that should, in my opinion, be acknowledged. So, am I the idiot? She did what? I thought maybe she stuck it on the underside of the toilet seat so that when he lifted it up, it was there like, boo. But oh, she threw it away in the bin that's meant for trash? Like, what? My guy, what? You are the idiot. Seriously, what is it with dudes who spend their bathroom breaks searching bins? Please walk me through the logic here like I'm 5 because you lost me. This thing is too disgusting to put in the bathroom trash can, so you would rather that she put it in a pocket or her purse or just carry it around instead? It's too disgusting for the literal trash can, so she should carry it instead on her person during a birthday party. Won't somebody consider this poor man's delicate eyeballs? Holy cow. He's single and lives alone in his apartment. Wow, I wonder why. OP, you and your moron brother are both children, and it sounds like your wife and brother don't get along because he's misogynistic and lacks brain points. You supporting this ridiculous nonsense is the biggest red flag you can show your wife. Seriously, I'd be rethinking that marriage to someone so insane. My female 32, sister 28, and her husband 32 moved in with us 2 days ago after they lost their apartment to medical debts for their child, my nephew. My husband and I are happy to have them stay for a few weeks until they resolve this. However, yesterday at 7 p.m., I was in the kitchen when my husband rushed in and said that he saw my sister and her husband walk out of the bathroom. They'd most likely taken a shower together. My husband didn't mention hearing anything. He just saw them get out of the bathroom, and yes, they were clothed. My husband said it irked him, and I agreed that what they did was somewhat inappropriate. He asked me to speak to my sister, and I did. She got defensive, asking how this was affecting my husband or me in any way. I told her that it made my husband feel uncomfortable, and we'd rather them just take their shower separately. She started ranting about being overwhelmed by their son's health problems and not having some alone time together as a married couple, and found this activity as a bonding time to spend together. I apologized for how she felt, but requested that she do as asked. Instead, she got mad at me and said that I was being inconsiderate and that she didn't understand my husband's hang-up on what she and her husband do. We started arguing, and she stormed off to the guest room where my nephew and brother-in-law were. She's not speaking to me, but my husband said I did the right thing by speaking to her and setting this boundary. Am I the idiot? Am I and my husband overreacting to this? Edit. It's the only bathroom in the house. They spend approximately 10 plus minutes in the shower, according to my husband. Your husband came rushing in to tell you that your sister and her husband took a shower together? Thank God he was there to catch that. Just think of all the sins he stopped. LOL. This is so dumb. Get a life, bruh. Leave them alone. They're stressed enough as it is. You are the idiot, and so is your hubby. Wait, so let me see if I've got this straight. Their child is so ill they've lost their home to cover his treatment, and you freak out because they walked out of the bathroom together? Jesus. What exactly irks him about your sister and her husband being together in the shower? Why did he need to rush in and tattle to you about it? Oh, and he's timing them in the shower? Are you saving hot water or what? Your husband's either jealous or is seriously projecting. If that isn't the case, he's being very invasive. I'm honestly embarrassed for OP. She basically announced to the whole world that she and her husband have the most boring and vanilla intimate life. He's horrified by 2 consenting adults showering together. Poor OP. This couple just lost their home. They're in serious medical debt. They have a very sick child. The likelihood of their marriage surviving this immense stress and hardship that they're experiencing is statistically low. Can we get some compassion for these people? Can you leave your hang-ups behind and give them support and space? Can you find happiness that they're making time and effort to spend together? What's more important here? Seriously, you and your husband need to get over this ridiculous hang-up. I, 21 female, recently found out I'm pregnant and getting to the 6-month mark. It's a complicated pregnancy and I'm exhausted. My boyfriend, 28, moved in with me because of it. It wasn't expected, but we're making do. I'm training to be a teacher and he's currently looking for employment. Technically, I'm working 2 jobs to support the both of us. It's tiring, but he's looking, so it's not over that. There's a local burger place I've been wanting. We rarely go, but I've been having cravings. They shut at a particular time. He agreed to it, and he agreed to order since they only have one veggie burger I like. It's not as though there are multiple things I can have. They shut at 9, I get home at 8:40, and he hadn't ordered. And by the time he went to, it was too late. I started crying because I'd been craving that all week, and all I wanted was a burger and a hot shower. I couldn't even have a shower since he used the last of the hot water. He didn't apologize and offered to go to Burger King, which I didn't want. He got all silent, claiming I was being an idiot since he's been job hunting all day. As I see it, my day started at 6 a.m. and ended when I got in bed at 9:30. His day started at 9 a.m. and ended at 9:30 p.m., but I've got the extra weight of pregnancy. We got into an argument about comparing days and that he's overwhelmed. I asked him to leave because I don't like arguing, and he had to stay in his car since he moved in with me, away from his friends. He argued that I was blowing it out of proportion because I'm pregnant and not considering his feelings because he's overwhelmed. So am I. My friends say I'm the idiot because he's probably in over his head and had to sleep in his car over a burger. Am I the idiot? When you said that you got pregnant and he moved in, I assumed that was to help you and Kitty to start a family. Apparently not the case at all. I'm going to be very harsh here. He has to stop talking about finding a job and find a job. You have to stop working 2 jobs to help support him. Your job is to support that baby, not him. Actually, that's his job as well. You may notice I've not discussed the burger, and that's because it's irrelevant. You are not the idiot, but you need to take several steps back and evaluate your options. He sat around all day gaming and took a shower right before you got home because he had to look productive. OP, please listen to the advice here. When your baby arrives, your boyfriend isn't going to change. It's likely to worsen. He needs to get a job, help at home in a meaningful way, do what he says he will, and apologize when he messes up. I'd give him a timetable on those things and boot him permanently if it doesn't happen well before the baby arrives. What was he overwhelmed by? Job applications? And all this time he's been job hunting. How many interviews has he had? The dude has nothing going on and can't even have a dinner that he doesn't have to cook ready for OP when she gets home from carrying him and their child. Oof. Girl, I have to say this. You are pregnant. You're working 2 jobs. Your boyfriend is unemployed. I'm seriously wondering if the crying was all about the burger. This is going to be your life soon. Why are you bringing this man into the fold? What is he really doing for you? He's 28 without a job, and you've got a baby coming in 2 to 3 months. There's no way he spent all of his day looking for work. Girl, he could be working at the burger place up the road right now if he wanted a job. But nope, he has you to take care of him. Kick him out.